Hey everybody, this is Michelle with Introduction to Graphic Design, and I'm going to do a quick tutorial video showing you some ways that you can create your letter for our letter project. I'm going to recreate this S that stands for screw, and I'm also going to recreate an apple that I sketched myself. So I am going to start off by taking photographs of my sketches and emailing them to myself. I'm going to download the picture. Now, if you're working on a Windows, I'm sure that you can go to your downloads. You can also do that in a Mac, but I like to take my picture, drop it right on my desktop, or you can save it in a particular file if you like. And then you can open up Illustrator. I'm going to show you how to create a brand new file, and then we'll come back to these that I've already started. But this is where we're headed. I'm going to recreate the screw. I'm going to recreate the apple and trace it with the image trace, and then add it to an existing type font. And then I'm going to finally end up with this apple here. So let's first create a brand new artboard so I can start from the beginning and show you how to do this. Okay, I'm going to click on print because we're going to print these and hang some outside in the walls. And where it says points, I'm going to go arrow down to inches and put in 7 by 7 artboard. 7 inches by 7 inches. I'm going to create 2 artboards right here and then hit create. Okay, and now I have taken my photos and set them over here on my desktop. So it's real easy for me to just grab them, the apple, and drop it in. And it's huge. So I'm going to hit the shift key and shrink my apple down. If you don't hit the shift key, it'll distort your picture. I'm going to find my screw and drop it in. Hit shift and click on the white anchor and shrink it down. And then I'm also get this S, because I'm going to trace this S. Or find one that looks just like it. So I'll show you how you can build that S, or you can find an S in a typeface. Okay, so once you get your pictures dropped in, I'm going to show you how to image trace. So take your screw picture and click on it, and it's highlighted in blue. And you're going to click image trace. And then click sketched art. Make sure your lines are really dark. And click OK when this pops up. It's just telling you that it may take a while because it's a big picture. If your lines are in pencil, sometimes they won't pick up. So after you sketch in pencil, go ahead and ink in the design that you actually want to trace. Once you hit image trace, you're then going to hit this button to expand it and make it a vector object. So the expand button, it functions in Illustrator by transforming brushstrokes, text, and patterns into vector shapes with editable outlines and anchor points. So we just looked at image trace, and then we expand it. Don't forget to expand it. Okay, once you've expanded it, now you can click on different parts and delete what you don't want. So I want to ungroup it. So I click on it and click ungroup. You can go to object, ungroup right here, or you can hit the quick key command, which is shift command G, and that will also ungroup. Okay, so now I didn't hit expand, I'm sorry. Let me show you the difference. Now that I've hit expand, do you see all the anchor points that it put on this design? So we have anchor points everywhere that can be manipulated or deleted. So I'm going to delete, once I ungroup everything, I'm going to delete what I know that we don't need. We don't need these pieces here that somehow came off my picture. Okay, so now I'm going to zoom in real close and show you some things that you can do. We don't need this little anchor point in the middle there of the design. You see these jagged lines right here? These are all a bunch of little anchor points. Now, if you click on this direct selection tool and then click on the design, it will allow you to use several things like a smooth tool to smooth this out, or you can begin deleting these anchors to smooth it out. That might take a while. So I'll show you a couple ways. You can click on the pen tool and you click on this tiny white triangle and press down and hold to get the delete anchor tool. And so you can start to delete some of these anchors as long as you click right on the white square. That might take a really long time if you got a bunch of stuff to delete. So it may be more efficient for you to use a smooth tool. So to get to the smooth tool, you'll go over here to the left-hand side. Mine's already pulled up, but if it's not, you just click on the tool that's here. It could be the shaper tool or the pencil tool, and it'll fly out this box so that you can find the smooth tool. Once you have the smooth tool selected, if you hit Shift and then press your mouse, it will smooth out this line for you. Sometimes you have to do it quite a bit for it to get as smooth as you want it. So I could do that and spend a lot of time smoothing out my lines, and that might be okay. Or if I really wanted a nice crisp image, I could recreate this using the shape tool. So I could go over here, and if I press on this white triangle, it pulls out this box, and I've got several choices. One of the things that I'd like to recreate is the top of the screw by making a triangle. So I'm going to go use the star tool. And so I click on the star tool and come out into the gray area, and I click and drag, and it starts to give me a triangle. If I wanted a star, I could click my arrow tool up and start adding more points to my star, as many as I wanted, or I can arrow down. Now, I haven't let go of my mouse. If you let go of your mouse, it will no longer let you add sides or delete sides. So I still have my mouse clicked. I still can control the shape of how big this thing is. Once I get the number of sides that I want, before I let go, I hit Shift so that it'll put it in a vertical, horizontally, vertically, straight line. So once I do that, I hit Shift, it actually has it vertically straight. So if I'm not sure if it's straight, I can always go to View and grab my ruler. Down at the bottom, I can say Show Rulers. It gives you rulers on the top and the side of your software. I can pull down, I can click and pull down this line to see that I've actually got this thing absolutely straight. All right, so I do want to shift this around. I'm going to rotate it. So I'm going to wait for those arrows to pop up that you see there. When they pop up at the corner, I can hit Shift and click, and it's going to turn this thing at 45-degree angles. So turned it once too much, so come back. So this is the shape I'm trying to get. I do need it to be bigger. So I grab the corner of the bounding box and stretch it out. All right, so I've got the head of the screw, and now I'm going to make the body with the rectangle tool. Now I'm going to maybe make it about this big. And kind of place that right there. And I'm going to try to make these bulges in the screen by using the ellipse tool, which can make a perfect circle if you hit Shift, but I want it to be a little compressed. So I'm going to let it stretch out to about like that. So since it's black, I can't really see it on top of my screw. So I'm going to fill it by clicking on Fill. I'm going to fill it white. I'm going to make it a little bigger so that, and I'll hit Shift so I don't distort it. But I want it to kind of bulge out from the sides, and I want it to be kind of some sharp bulges. Okay, so I'm going to combine the triangle and the rectangle by clicking on the triangle, clicking on the rectangle and holding Shift. So Shift, click, click. And I'm going to combine these two shapes with the Pathfinder tool. Pathfinder tool should be over here in your properties. This is the properties panel. Here's Pathfinder. If you can't find it, remember, you can always go to Window and down to Pathfinder. Okay, so over in the Pathfinder tool, I'm going to click on Unite. And it just united the triangle and the rectangle. Okay, now I'm going to try to make these bulges that look like this. I'm going to do that by duplicating this circle a couple of times. I'm going to click on it, press Option while I'm clicking, and it's actually going to create a copy. Then I do it again. Option, click, drag and create a copy. Option, click, drag and create a copy. Now I'm going to press Shift and click on all four of these, and I want to come over to Align. I want to put them in the center of the screw here. So I'm going to click on the screw, and I'm going to ask it to align to the selection that I've chosen and align in the middle. Okay, then I'm just going to hit Shift and select just these. I'm going to group them together, and then I'm going to go to the Align tool and click on these three dots for more options. When I click on it, it shows me I've got distributing options. I want to distribute these evenly. So I distribute these objects evenly. Vertical distribute space. Okay, so they're each evenly distributed. And now I can actually cut them. Let's see, I'm going to actually ungroup them because I don't think you can evenly distribute them while they're grouped together because they didn't move just then. So let's try that again. Align and distribute. There, now they move. So remember that. You can't group them until after you've evenly distributed them. Okay, so I'm going to put them up in the screw. And now we're just about ready to cut them out of the screw. So we can click all of the ones we want to cut out of the screw, and they're in the front on top of the screw. So let's click on the screw and ask the Pathfinder to minus the front. Oop, no, that's not what we want to do. We want to merge. We want to merge all of those. So now it's created the screw ridges, and I think they might need to be a little fatter. So let's hit Command Z and undo that. And I want to not hold Shift because I actually want to distort this a little and make these a little fatter. Okay, so now I want to bring them together a little more. I'm going to go back to the Align tool and distribute these objects evenly. Okay, now I can do that. I can go ahead and merge them with this shape. And it's probably going to turn everything white. It did. That's okay. We can go back to the fill and turn our screw black. Or it can be white. It doesn't matter. All right, so now we need to, where this straight space is, we need to create a dip in, right? So I'm going to look at how that curve is made, and I'm actually thinking that I can put an anchor point dot in the center of each of these to make that curve, or it's possible that I could grab these two anchor points and do something like that. So what I just did is, hit Command Z. I grabbed these two anchor points by clicking one and hitting Shift and clicking the other, and I pressed and I So I try to recreate what I just did. I click that anchor point, hit shift and click that anchor point. And then I move them and they get dipped in. That's not really the look that I want. You can see when I made it before, I ended up with this, and I haven't combined the two shapes together, but I like the way that looks. That looks like a screw. So the way that I did that, I'm trying to recreate that different ways to show you. So the way that I did it was I ended up taking an ellipse circle and let's make it red so you can see what I'm doing. And I set it here. Let me zoom in. And I cut it out of this. And so it's going to make this smooth line like this when you cut it out. And that's fine. That works. So maybe that would be easier to teach you. So I'm going to click on that and click Option and just make a copy. And I'm going to evenly align it underneath. And we're going to do this a couple of times. Click Option and drag. See how my guides are showing me that I have it even? So that looks good. So let's do 3. And let's cut it out. So click, shift, click, click, and come over to Pathfinder and ask it to minus the front. Oh, but you gotta click the screw. Okay, Pathfinder, minus front, and there we go. We have it cut out. And I see just a little bit of an imperfection, which is okay. There might be an easier way to do this, but I'm going to use the smooth tool and just smooth that out. Hit shift and just smooth it out. Okay, now if you want your shape to be completely symmetrical on the other side, an easy way to do that is to take the eraser tool and the center would be this blue point right here. My eraser tool is too big. I need to make it smaller. So there's a couple ways you can do that. You can click and move your mouse. No, you can't do it with the eraser tool. What you have to do is next to the letter P are these 2 buttons that look like parentheses. The one on the left makes your eraser tool smaller on your keyboard. So make it small, about the size of the anchor point. And right up above the anchor point, center your tool, hit the shift button, click your mouse, and just drag a straight line through your tool. And it will keep a straight line for you. Okay, so we're going to delete this side, and we're just going to copy and paste and reflect this side vertically, and then put them together. So I'm going to go to Object to reflect it, Transform, Reflect. So you can also just right click and go down to Transform, Reflect. It's going to vertically reflect it. And click OK. And just put it together. Hit Shift and click them both together and hit Pathfinder and merge that into one shape. So now we have a symmetrical screw. We just need a tip on it. So I'm going to recreate another triangle with the star tool, about that size. And I'm going to rotate it. Stick it right here. I'm going to make it just a little smaller. Something about like that. And then just click both and hit shift and click both and then merge them together with your Pathfinder tool. Okay. The one that I created, I really liked the shape, the one I created earlier, right here. Something about the way that rounds into the tip. So I'm going to grab this one since it's my favorite. And I'm going to merge it together with the Pathfinder tool. I'm just arrowing over so I can get it, using my arrow tool to get it right where I want it. And I'm going to copy it and actually paste it in the page that I'm looking at. It's really, really big. So when I come over here, since both shapes are selected, I can hit Pathfinder and I made it one shape. And I can shrink it down to the size that I need. So I actually like this one better than the white one. Not a real big difference, but you can see, just like the way it looks better. Okay, and the next thing I need to do is make this little indentation in the top of the screw. Acting like a Phillips head screw. So I'm just going to take a rectangle and cut it out of the screw. So it doesn't matter what color it is, but just so that you can see it, I'm going to turn it white. I'm going to put it in the middle. My guide sometimes will tell you when it's in the middle, but just in case they don't, I click both pieces and I'll align them with each other. And then you can click on both pieces and ask Pathfinder to minus the front, and it'll take that out. So here's our screw. Okay, now you can create an S. I'm looking at this reference. To create an S, I could just take rectangle pieces and put one together. I can also take the Pathfinder, the pen tool, and I can actually just trace this one real quick. So if you can't find an S that looks like this, you could create your own S if this is a design you were trying to do. So let me just take the fill off, and I'm just going to use a stroke color so you can see what I'm actually tracing. So to get straight lines with the pen tool, I'm going to hold down the shift key so that I can get straight lines. My guides should tell me when I'm even. And I'm not trying to be perfect so that this video is not too long and you get the point how to do this. I'm going to try to make the S kind of thick at the top and the bottom so that we've got plenty of room to cut out that screw, and the screw's really visual because we want it 50% image and 50% letter. Now we can fill our letter and it's ready. We can take the stroke off. All right, so now we can copy and paste that into the center of the artboard. Shrink it by holding shift and put it in the artboard. Okay, to align it to the artboard in the center, you want to align to artboard, put it in the center, and put it vertically and horizontally in the center. Okay, now we got this screw here that we want to cut out. So I'm going to fill this screw red so you can see it. Take the stroke off. I'm just going to copy it so I don't mess it up. I want to shrink it down by holding shift. And I'm going to elongate it. All right. So if we take this screw and we bring it to the front by clicking on Object, Arrange, Bring to the Front, and we cut it out of the S by clicking on the screw and the S, and we tell it to minus the front, then we've recreated the S just like this. So if this line is in your way and you want to get rid of it, it's visually blocking our artboard now. You just go to View, Smart Guides, and let's see, View. Oh, let's see. Oh, it's down. Oh, there it is. I was passing it right up. Smart Guides. I want to hide guides. Guides, hide guides. There we go. Okay, so now I've recreated that S, and I like the look of this one because I think it's really these jagged edges closer together is giving it a better look than what I created. So the way to do that would be just um, make your pieces closer together and put more in there. My drawing just didn't have but about 4. So, okay, so that's the S recreated really quickly for you. And here's how I did the apple. Again, you want to click on the image. You want to click on Image Trace, Sketched Art. Then you want to click on Expand to get those vector points. Okay. So here's my art. Now I'm going to find an A. So I'm going to go to a type font and just find an A and hit capital A. So again, what I just did is I clicked on T, which is your type tool. I came over here and I clicked my artboard and it puts in this is type filler. So if you don't unclick it, just click capital A and it's giving you an A. Now you click and highlight it again and come over to character in your properties panel. If character is not there so that you can change the size of your type font and the type of type font, then if a character is not there, you can go to Windows, click on it, and you can find the word type. Think of you're looking for your typeface. So find type and open up your whole type window or just your character window. Okay, so I don't need 2 of them. So I'm just going to click on one and delete it and come back with clicking on my type tool. I'm going to highlight my A and come over here to my character. I'm going to click on the font and I think I'd like to have this wide Arial black A. Okay, so I just changed it to the wide Arial black A and I'm going to unselect it. I'm going to get off the type tool and I'm going to select it with the selection tool. Okay, before you change this, before you create outlines and create vector points on this, always save a copy, like off in the gray space. So hit Command C to copy and just Command V and just leave you an extra copy out here that will always remain the typeface so you can tell what it is. When you click on it, it will always say Arial black. But once we create this in vector outlines, it won't tell you what font it is anymore. You may forget and you may want to edit something. Okay, so this is now going to be changed into a vector object by going up to Type for typeface and go down to Create Outlines. When you select the direct selection tool, you can see now this A has all kinds of outlines. Okay, so if I zoom out, we can see what size it is. We want it to be much bigger, right? So I'm going to take the not the direct selection tool, the selection tool, click on it, grab that white anchor as I hit shift, and I'm going to make it big. Okay, so now I'm going to take my A on my apple, and I'm going to put it on the top here. Let me show you what I'm trying to do again. I'm trying to create this A for apple right here. So this is what I did. I put it on top. I merged them together with Pathfinder, manipulated the A, and then sliced off the bottom. Okay, so I'll show you how I did that. I'm going to change the color of my apple so we can see what we're doing. Took the whole thing over here, and I said, I need to make that A wider. So I stretch the A out without hitting shift. And stretch my apple out. Take your apple, object, arrange, bring to the front, and I merge these together. So click on the apple, click on the A while you hit shift, and merge them together with Pathfinder. Okay. Now, you can take your direct selection tool and you can add anchor points here to bend your A, make it a little rounder like the shape of an apple. So you can add anchor points if you can't bend it the way you think you want it bent. So you can also, you can take those anchor points and you can pull them like this, sort of make them the shape of a rounded apple. Like that. Another way you could do it is by grabbing your ellipse tool and just making yourself like a rounded edge. And you could merge this rounded edge, like pretend like that's part of your apple. You see how I could merge that piece onto the A, smooth it out down here, and that could become my A. I kind of like that look, actually. So I'm going to take this piece and merge it into the apple with the Pathfinder tool, just like that. I really like this look over here, not so much this one. So I'm going to do the same thing, maybe even just cut this piece off and rotate it, flip it over here. I think I'll do that. I might squish it just a little. So I can grab one more piece. And I'm going to rotate it by hitting the shift key, rotate just a little. I think my circle needs to be a little fatter. And like that. Okay. Yeah, something like that. I can merge these two pieces together. Okay, so we're starting to get an A. So now I can take my eraser tool. If I don't like this, and I want to make it a little more rounded, I can cut it out like that. Cut all that out and delete it, whatever I don't want. You can make your eraser tool bigger by going to the right of the P in those parentheses. The one on the right makes it bigger, the tool brush. The one on the left makes it smaller. And you come in and just kind of curve that out. You can cut off some of that. And there you want it like 50% letter, 50% image. So now I need to smooth out this line. So I click on the direct selection tool, click on that smooth tool that we talked about, and just hit shift, kind of smooth that line out. Come over here, smooth that one out, Smooth up in here out. And I'm going to say, it's getting really close to what I like. So I'm going to I'm gonna group together this whole thing just to make sure I got all my little pieces. And I'm going to shrink it down to fit the artboard. I'm going to elongate it a little bit. And then just take a rectangle tool and make that an A, like that. And make it black for the project. Needs to be black. I can merge these two pieces together with Pathfinder if I want to. And so I've got my two shapes. I've got my screw, S for screw, and my A for apple. And that is good enough. I hope that helped, and can't wait to see what you create. Thanks.